right, how many of us have had that unwelcome phone call offering us some or other product that we really don't need? In addition, many of us found our email inbox filled with various offers from companies that we didn't even sign up for. Now, if you didn't authorize these adverts and phone calls, it is a violation of your privacy. In light of Data Privacy Day, which was yesterday, by the way, Right to Know wants to know why, despite legislation, we are still being harassed, and regardless of the Protection of Personal Information Act of 2013, or POPI, the law is still not being enforced. So, quickly, my guest, Thami Nkosi from Right to Know, attorney Avani Singh, and information regulator Pansy Tlakula. Good to have all of you. Thank you so much for joining us here in studio.
Good morning, Ian.
Good morning.
Okay, so let us begin right there with what legislation actually says. The POPI Act, what does it say?
So the POPI Act is a framework for data protection regulation. And what it says ultimately is that people must be responsible with the data that they collect about you, from the point of collection all the way through to the deletion of that information. And one of the key provisions is that when data is collected, it must be for a specific purpose, and that information must be used only for that purpose that's been disclosed to you up front.
Okay, so that's what it says, and yet, Right to Know, basically what you're saying is that the POPI Act is not being enforced properly.
I think essentially for us, the critical thing is to think about how do we build a massive public education awareness campaign around this law, and also support and work with the information regulator as the watchdog of the enforcement of POPI to ensure that actually this law does become enacted, and actually people are actually prosecuted for actually selling people's data, and people face up fines as prescribed by the law.
I mean, okay. Pansy, what do you say about all of this? I mean, this is what the law says. It's not being enforced. So now I bring you into the conversation. Why?
I think the first thing that we need to say is that the right to privacy is a right in the Constitution.
Yes.
So even if the law is not fully enacted, people can still enforce their rights through the right to privacy provision in the Constitution. But having said that, I think what we have been doing as the regulator is to encourage companies, private and public bodies to proactively comply with the law. And I must say that some companies really do that, and they take the law quite seriously. Of course, we do have challenges, particularly in the direct marketing field, where we always bombarded with these messages which are unsolicited. And now that the elections are coming, most of us are beginning to receive messages from political parties.
Yeah.
And having said that, just yesterday, we came up with a guidance document for political parties on the do's and don'ts in terms of sending unsolicited electronic communication, using it to campaign.
Yeah.
Because the law also addresses that. We met with the political parties last year. We explained to them POPI is a complex piece of legislation we have to accept. And as Thami has said, we need a massive public campaign, public awareness campaign. So we have simplified, we have done the do's and don'ts for political parties, and we will be monitoring what they will be doing. So
obviously, the reality is that our information is being sold, and this is something that it's rife. Like I say, I get SMSs, all of us get SMS. I mean, I'm just scrolling through my phone right now. I just received an SMS now from something that I don't even know about, and this is the reality. I mean, I'm seeing Nedbank SMSs coming through to me, and I don't even bank with Nedbank. So how is this happening? How are these databases being sold?
So it's widespread, and it's a very lucrative market. What's interesting is that outside of the Protection of Personal Information Act, the Consumer Protection Act has been in place for a number of years and is fully enforced. And that also prohibits quite strictly direct marketing. And in particular, anybody who asks for direct marketing to be stopped, it's an offense for the sender of the messages not to comply with that. And yet we're finding that opt-out numbers aren't being provided, and people aren't being given the option to insist that their information is being removed.
Yeah, and that's, I mean, I've just, again, scrolled down to another SMS. Get 20,000 Rand discount, bachelor's to master's degrees in Sandton. Limited offer until the 1st of February. I don't even know about this. So what right do I have? This is my information. This is my privacy that's being disturbed. So what right do I have?
I think one of the things is that, the provisions in the Constitution actually demands that, even companies that are using your information need to be able to, inform you, as to what end are they using the information. It can't be all willy-nilly. Right now, it's a free flow, And I think the other thing that I wanted to raise to say, why is this critical? If you're thinking about the conversation we're having about the fourth industrial revolution, and given, saying that we need to fit into that, and given the current state of how information can easily be sold, information can easily be leaked out, and also how it compromises lives of activists, for example, with Abahlali Jondolo getting killed, for example. So it's not only about telemarketing or maybe, state security agencies using some information. Sometimes it really does endanger people's lives. So I'm thinking there's a direct correlation between how your information gets sold. So we need to nip this in the bud to say, from the first person that gives your information away, to what end does this chain go? Yeah. And where does it end? And for me, I think it's a conversation that should be in the public discourse, and we should have these conversations as a society and ensure that we build and mobilize support around this. The same way that we did with the state security, with the secrecy bill.
Yes. Yes.
So I think it's almost similar in terms of how things are unfolding. So we essentially need to kind of get the massive.
Pansy, a tick at the bottom of an email. On an online agreement. Is that an agreement? Does that count as a signature? And for me now to just give you all my information?
I think so. But what we need to also inform the public about is what they put out in the public. Because if you put out your information in the public, if it's in the public record, then it's not protected in terms of the law. So young people in particular who bear their lives, they just publish everything about themselves on social media.
So if your number,
that information,
if your cell phone number is on your Twitter feed,
it is in the public domain.
So you cannot protect them. But if it is on, and it's quite annoying because I cannot actually fill out any form without putting every detail, including my underwear size,
but
on
that
anything.
does not apply. You see, if
that should be protected.
If you enter into a contract with a mobile provider, and you give them your number, they can only use that information for the purpose for which you are entering into a contract with them about. They can't sell it to anybody.
Yeah.
And they can't further process it. They can't sell it to political parties, because the question that we ask, for instance, political parties is, where do you get the information? Where do you get the cell phone numbers of voters? It's not on the voters' roll. So it means that data brokers actually sell information to all ends.
Out of 4 of us sitting here, how many election SMSs? I got about 4 this weekend. You?
I don't even pay attention anymore.
But seriously, how many did you get? Did you get SMSs?
At least about 6.
Did you get?
Yes, I did.
No, there you go.
I get them all the time. But I think we also have to, when you get the phone call, those phone calls that you get randomly,
I got one yesterday.
You just say, where did you get my number? Do you know that what you're doing is illegal?
Yeah.
And then it stops.
And then you know what happened? It breaks. Wrap it up. The rights that we have. I've got to say goodbye.
So I think what's really important about POPI is that it actually affects everybody. Every individual is affected by it. And our personal information is so fundamental to each of us that it's really important that we each protect it and demand that other companies are protecting it for us as well.
Okay, we're going to do a follow-up interview on this. Unfortunately, run out of time thanks to my guests. We didn't get anywhere, but we'll pick this up. I can promise you it's a big one. Let's take a break, sharp after this.